Maybe the only other thing is just to be in it for the long haul. You know, if you're going to try and make a systemic change, understand that it is not going to happen right away, that it's going to take a committed team of people, and that team's going to change. People are going to come and go, and there will be days where you wonder if it's worth it. But just understand that that's in this game of three-dimensional chess. That's when you just lost your rook or something, or your queen. It doesn't mean the game's over. It just means you have to come up with different strategy now because things weren't what they appeared to be, or are no longer what they were. So be committed. Don't allow people to enlist without really understanding the magnitude of the change. Let me say this in a slightly different way. There's a wonderful superintendent, one of my favorite people in the world, who wanted to move his school, and he was a very, very positive, optimistic, dynamic, charismatic person. And so he said to his school district, hey, let's make this big change. And they said, I don't know, but if you think so, we're with you, basically. And so they did a block scheduling thing at the high school, and they made some other changes concurrently. But then when it started to get rocky, because they went in because they liked the guy, rather than because they really understood and really believed that there was value in what they were doing, when things started to rattle, the lesson he told me was, don't move ahead until people really understand why it is they're doing what they're doing. Don't accept, I'm with you, accept an I believe in that, and so I'll help you move in that direction. So that's another little something that I've learned from some of my systemic reform heroes.
Who are some of those heroes?
Well, my systemic reform heroes are the people who have been at it for quite a while and who are committed. The superintendent I mentioned is Dr. Mark Duraco, who's now the superintendent in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. He was up in Sullivan County earlier, and again, wonderful people who committed, and again, everybody did good things. Others are Mark Tosi, the guy who's running our charter school at the moment, and all the people who came and went along that way. Another thing you need to know about reform is you end up collecting passionate people. And passionate people are wonderful because that passion is what keeps them going over the hard work. But then again, passionate people, even if they're using the same words, aren't necessarily seeing the same vision. And there will be conflict among passionate people, especially tired, passionate people. So most of the schools I've watched or been involved with in any depth, you see conflict, even among really good people who are all trying to go in the same way. And I think it's a function of fatigue and passion and other things. So try to remember too what Peter Senge in the fifth discipline points out, that when people are at odds or when something's not working, it's not necessarily a personnel or a performance problem. It's probably a system problem. Communication may not be what it needs to be, or something. But I've seen several cases where great people end up on different sides of an issue, and it gets quite tense. And first, consider the fact that it may not be wrong people, it may not be wrong goals, it's probably wrong communication or another factor that is probably under your control.